This thing is an absolute unit. It's got play right now, but combined action also looks to be a play when the range gets normalized next season in that mid-range, and I want to focus on that because this thing's pure stopping power. For it to be that though, you need to have the best RNG in the world, and when I say that, you need it to drop for you. That's like the hardest part, because to get it to drop, you just play. It's a world loot drop weapon. When you put it all together with the upcoming changes, there's a lot to like with this thing. And I do believe that high range 120s will be used when that range gets normalized. And this thing's one of a kind. And for it to be one of a kind, you need a certain type of roll. And I'm also going to compare it to something similar as we go along. Most have received one, hopefully, somewhere at some point, but most got it from the gunsmith, just like me. So the things that I want to talk about when they do drop, just line up the check marks to see if you got them on the weapon. Arc 120 RPM hand cannon, aggressive frame, hard hitting, and if I'm not mistaken, it's literally the only 120 arc in the game. We got some good 140s, Nation of Beasts, there's Posterity, Cantata, as far as other archetypes, and with that arc kit, you got Amplified and such, but the main draw here is Adagio. I'm sure you've seen it, heard about it, but let's dive a little bit deeper into this. After you get a final blow, you get 30% more damage, but a rate of fire penalty. The damage jumps from 80 to 104. This shot is heavy, such a heavy shot. So you can get a final blow, and in passing, just landing a bullet in range takes them over halfway if they have full health. It's a cleanup monster, a chip monster. It can 2-tap, and opposed to kill clip on, let's say, round robin. And that thing itself is a beast. Keep away kill clip. 120s deal 100 damage with kill clip. Tier 10 survives that. Adagio's 104s can down it. And the difference TTK-wise, kill clip is 0.5, Adagio, a 2-tap, is 0.6. After you get a kill for 7 seconds, 30% more damage, plus 10 range. So that brings the base range to 64. In the current game, that's 34.5 meters. Once range is normalized, that might be a little bit higher because these things can cap out at around 39.5. Or it might be about the same. We don't know how it's all gonna extrapolate. But as you start adding range to this thing, let's go a couple different routes. Even let's say small bore, Accurize, that's 81 range. Small bore also gets it to 33 stability, which helps out the weapon. Range Masterwork, a 91 range. And something like that right now in game is 37 meters. 38.5 with Adagio. So on your drops, if you're able to get some range perks with this, and help out stability if you can, I would keep it. The one I have is from the Gunsmith, Tunnel Vision Adagio, 59 range, so 69 when Adagio is procced. In game currently, that's 35.3 meters, but regardless, once that range band is normalized, when Adagio procs, it has 64 range, which is going to be pretty good on that band. Then we have the 2-taps going, the heavy shots going, and to knot all that up, it has field tested. After that first kill, it's plus 3 range, so it's actually 67 range. After another kill, it'll be 70. So if you're able to start with high range, get a kill, add the plus 10 from Adagio, then start getting field tested to keep going as you're going on streaks, it's perfect. You're able to peak shot. When it doesn't have Adagio, 80 is still nice chunk damage, but the 104s, those are really, really good. And when I look at this thing, like let's take Eddy Current Kill Clip. I have this roll. This is one of my random rolls. After sprinting for 3 seconds, increase reload speed for 3 seconds. It's improved while you're amplified. So what's nice, if you're on an arc subclass, you're gonna get a kill, reload in a kill clip. On that second kill, then you're amplified. So now it's the Eddy Current amplified. It's like, that's okay, but I would much rather use that craftable keep away round robin. It's just so good. That's where round robin's value is, and I think the value here falls to Adagio. We do have timed payload. That's gonna hit like a dump truck. That's also an option. And the way I feel about it, I haven't had any other Adagio rolls fall. It's always been Tunnel Vision Adagio for me, which, I mean, that's okay. If you actually do get the reload in, you're gonna have to run reloaders on this thing. Fortunately, this season it's arc. After that, you might have to go double, but the accuracy help, the plus 20 aim assist, the aim down sights help, makes it a lot more snappy, a lot more forgiving on that big shot. So this kind of works. But also, I mean, no distractions. Zen Moment, it shoots so slow. The benefit is kind of iffy, but it does work. I mean, it's gonna help reduce recoil and flinch, but since it's this archetype, I would actually take no distractions or tunnel vision over it, and that's really tough for me to do because I love Zen Moment, but I think you see more gains out of no distractions or tunnel vision, or even possibly perfect float if you're able to keep busy. That's what you're looking for. Some range somewhere on the weapon with Adagio, because then we get field tested going and we can go from there. And maybe you're just gonna sit in like a Luna Rift, who knows? But I've been very impressed with this. It's the first time we've seen Adagio on a 120, and it's put in a lot of work for me, and it's really, really fun. And hopefully once that patch comes in, we're gonna get some shorter maps. Like right now we're playing Cathedral and all these just monsters, Fortress. But if we get back to Dead Cliffs, Rusted Lands, Anomaly a lot, I think this thing can really shine. I do. Because when that mid-range gets shaken up, the sandbox is going to turn on its head. I am telling you, ARs are going to be viable. The 140s should actually start competing with some of the bigger pulse rifles if you have high range. We can talk about PvE a little bit. I really do like field tested in PvE just as a perk in general. I mean, once it's maxed out at ×5, plus 20 range, 55 reload speed, so that base 32 reload goes to 87, so it's not as bad as you would think. And once field tested is fully up, those 5 stacks, the only way that it's gone is on death. So that means it'll have 74 range, 87 reload. With that into consideration, eddy current isn't as needed, but PvE wise, it's like one of the most helpful perks for it. Especially if you're on arc, you're gonna get that reload in. We do have volt shot on the other side. It's a harder hitting weapon, that'll help. But honestly, if I could pick and choose, it would be timed payload. In PvE, 16% increased body damage. And that's just as a whole, because the bullet splits in 2. The explosion half is 30% more. So that means it's gonna be good at a distance. It's gonna have the range because of field test. It's gonna have the reload. So yeah, it could work there. And to me, it only works there because of field tested. Since it has that origin trait, like I wouldn't necessarily shy away from it. But then again, a legendary hand cannon in PvE, that's a really tough sell. I don't envision any of you out there using it in PvE, but the way that things are kind of pieced together for it, it can work. I think that this is mostly going to be used for the Crucible, as it should be. Kind of wish it had quick draw on one of the sides. And again, I want to state, I mean, usually the world drop weapons are some of my favorites. We've seen those gems with Battle Scar, Ogma, Harsh Languages, some pretty cool stuff. Usually unique, and this is no different. Adagio on a 120. Pure stopping power. You're looking for Adagio as much range you can get from anywhere without hurting your stability too much. So on 120s, I think that they shoot so slow that low stability doesn't really affect me personally, but it might affect you. And we're going to see how much per point range helps these things once that mid range is kind of flipped on its head. And yeah, you could try things like Lucky Pants Adagio in PvE. If I were to get my perfect roll, it would probably be small bore accurized rounds, range masterwork with Adagio. Anything on that third column, I could fill in and I would be okay. Even hipfire grip. Perfect float can work if you're busy. Tunnel vision, once you get that reload in. No distractions at a distance with Adagio. Eddy current for a reload. Zen moment for anti-flinch, even though it shoots really slow. But who knows? We might not get another 120 with Adagio, and this might be it. That has happened in the past. So yes, when they drop, pay attention. If you're new here, remember to hit the subscribe button. And if you are subscribed, thank you so much for your support. Let's talk about combined action down below. And if you've used this thing, no doubt it's been the gunsmith roll. What are your thoughts on it? Thank you for watching, and until the next one, I am CoolGuy.